This is a video that's going to go over some of the homework and vocabulary. If we look here, it says graph the following. Find the vertex at the domain and range. We've already spoke about what's the meaning of domain, which is the x values, and the range is our y. So let's go ahead and graph the first one. I have it here on the screen of the calculator. So we defined the vertex is the turn, where the graph takes a turn. So here you can see clearly the graph takes a turn at this point here. This point is 0. Okay, so at 0, 0 is the vertex where it meets and it turns. So our vertex here is 0, 0. So the domain and range. Next, what is the domain? What is our x values or the interval of x values? So whenever you find your x values, and I'll illustrate this more in class, is where the graph hits the x. And we see it's pointing downward. And so if I were to show a pencil, turn it back on, going across the screen, then at each point you will intersect x. So the x value is x is less than, I'm sorry, x is all real numbers. I'm sorry, x would be all real numbers, and I'll explain this better on the next video of how I know it's all real numbers. So the domain, in the most part, most of these parabolas, when you graph the x, it's going to be all real numbers, and I'm going to write it like a R. It's like a symbol that indicates all real numbers. And the range is where the graph hits the y. So the graph hits the y at y is less than or equal to 0. In the next video, I will explain exactly how and why that is true. Now this problem, number 7, is graphed. I'm going to go over that. So this is the graph of number 7, y equals 5x squared. So our vertex is what? It's 0, 0. The domain is the real numbers, and the range is y is greater than or equal to 0. And I'll explain that clearly, the domain and range, in the next video. Number 8, we see the vertex here. It's the graph of number 8 is 0, 0. And we see the domain is real numbers. And the range is y is less than or equal to 0. And if you notice something, once you sketch the graphs, you'll see which one of these graphs is wider. And we know that the number 8 is going to be wider than number 7. Also, when you sketch your graphs, this was the sketch of number 8, you can always go to your table of values and know what points to plot in graphing the problems. I will end this recording and go to another one for the second part of the homework.